Hello and welcome everyone. Today in this session I'm going to talk about third unit of MMPC-20, that is ethical dilemmas. As you can see on your screen, this is a note, okay, very precise note and very correct note you can use for your exam also, and for understanding this concept which can be helpful for your competitive exams also, just like NET or JRF. So now let's start ethical dilemma. So first this is MMPC 20 unit 3. So introduction, that is given 3.1. so there are multiple factors, okay, in case of ethical decision. There are multiple factors which include in the ethical decisions. So the first factor here it is given, that is other regarding action. So how your decision is going to, or how your action is going to affect others. So that's here given. Consider the impact of their actions on others. Means the way you take decision, how that is going to affect others. So that's you have to consider in ethical decision. Second factor which need to be considered, that is availability of more than one choice. Okay, so more than one choice meaning, so how many choices are available and how you can choose those out of many. Then you have perception of our actions by other. Okay, means how others perceive your actions. Okay, so that's these are the multiple factors which you need to consider when you make ethical decision. If you don't consider these factors, then your decision will not be under ethical consideration. So factors affecting ethical decision making can be categorized into two categories. So here I am reading. So if I write, then it will be better, I think so. So where so here let's see how I can draw. Okay, done. So now as you can see on your screen, here I am talking factors affecting ethical decision making can be categorized into two categories. So how many categories? Two. So the first factor in ethical decision making, that is individual factors. What are these? Concern the individual ethical personalities making a particular decision. So now you see, concern the individual ethical personalities. So here individual factors are those factors which are due to individual ethical personalities. Okay, so these factors stem from one's natural traits and socialization. It means how a person has been raised, or how the person, and what kind of environment the person has already lived. So those social factors and environmental factors affect how the person is going to make decision in case of ethical dilemma. So that's here given. This is the first fact, that is individual factors which affect ethical decision making. It means one person's social environment affects, and the trait also affect his or her ethical decision making. Then you have situational factors. Second, that is so situational factors include a specific context that determines the ethical decision. So now here given include a specific context. It means in what context the decision has to be made. Okay, so that is the situational factors which affect, because in different situations people make different, or you can say people make decisions in different ways. So that's why situational factors also affect ethical decision making. So this includes incentive system, job roles, and prevailing ethical climate in the organization. And here situational factors, it may be the job roles, means what kind of job roles are present in the organization, and it may be the maybe the prevailing ethical climate means what kind of ethical climate it is present in the organization. Just like in some organization it is normal to be unethical, so in those organization decision will be made in that way. And in some other organization, where we can say being ethical it is valued, so in those organizations ethical decision should be preferred. So in that case people will be more comfortable to take decisions in ethical way in the organization where ethical climate it is positive. So that it was about the second that is situational factors. Okay, first that is the individual factor which affect ethical decision making, and second it is situational factor which affect decision making, ethical decision making. Then next point that is given, ethical approaches to ethical decision making. What that is given, ethical approaches to ethical decision making. So here the structure of the decision problem comes from finding answers to the following question. Okay, structure of the decision problem means how a person or organization is going to make decision comes from finding the answer to the following question. So just like here given, what can I do in this situation, it means what the person can do in this particular situation or in the situation where ethical dilemma is existing. So the answer of that will decide that how the person is going to make ethical decisions. Second given, what outcome will the action have. So here means if the person think that okay, now what it will be the outcome of the action or the decision which that particular person is going to take, then that will also decide what way the person is going to make ethical decision. Then you have what is the goal, means what is the goal of that ethical decision or that particular situation. So that is also going to decide the approach. So here by finding out these questions answers will give you you can say the answer to ethical dilemmas. Okay, if you can answer these questions in a better way, then you will be able to take ethical decision in case of ethical dilemmas. Overcoming ethical dilemmas. So how you can overcome ethical dilemmas? Okay, now here first thing is that this person Rest spoke of 4 components in ethical decision making. So there are 4 components in ethical decision making. The first component that is present, that is moral sensitivity. Okay, it is the awareness of conflicting ethical values. So here I am talking here, it is the awareness of conflicting ethical values. Okay, means how those ethical values conflict. Okay, whenever there it is the conflict of moral values, then there should be more sensitivity. Just like forces want to engage in moral moral reasoning which facilitate one's transit to the next. There is moral reasoning. Here people should be be sensitive about the you can say the conflicting ethical values, because people value in different way, and there are different reasons to value different things. So that's why people should be aware, or you can say should be sensitive of the conflicting ethical values. That is moral sensitivity. Second component of ethical decision making, that is moral judgment. So here it is about the moral judgment. So here it is choosing between the various courses of action after determining various aspects of an ethical problem. And then you have moral motivation, means of the subject is motivated by twin factors of rewards and emotion. Generally, people are motivated due to these two factors, that is the reward and emotion. And then after you have the moral character. These are the four components of ethical decision making. Okay, these are the four components of ethical decision making. Now, depending on the subject facing the dilemma, one can navigate from one section of the wheel to the next. So now here you have ethical navigation wheel to overcome ethical dilemma. So there, a systematic way to overcome ethical dilemma. Here it is presented on your screen. You can see. So this is a wheel. Now here the six components are given: law, identity, morality, reputation, economy, and ethics. Okay, so that's here given. The ethical navigation wheel. What that wheel? So this wheel is known as ethical navigation wheel. So here I think I can write down, then it will be clear. So ethical navigation wheel. Okay, this is what ethical navigation wheel. So depending on the subject facing the dilemma, one can navigate from any section of the wheel to the other end. Means according to the situation, or you can say whatever kind of a dilemma there it is, you can start from any one of these six. Okay, you can start from the law, or you can start for the identity. It varies from situation to situation, that from where you have to start. So there, the first thing that is given, law. It is is it legal? The first thing which you need to ask. Now here I already told that you can start from anywhere. It is not that you always have to start from the law, or you always have to start from the identity. You can start from anywhere. So that it depends your situation. According to your situation or the circumstances, you can start from any one of these. So the first that is given, law. Is it legal? Whether the managerial action is legally acceptable, that should be considered. Okay, whenever there is ethical dilemma. If it is legal, then okay, then we can say we are a little bit confident that okay, now whatever action or decision the manager is going to take, that it comes under ethical decision. Okay, it is not unethical. So you can be sure, but you are not 100% sure, because earlier already I have explained that ethics starts from where the law ends. Okay, means the work of ethics, business ethics, starts where the law ends. Second given, identity, mapping the values. Okay, so second given, identity. So managers need to map their decision making with the values of their industry. Means according to the value of their industries, the managers need to map their decision making. Means according to the industry standard, whether the decision of the manager is in accordance with that industry standard or not. If it is in accordance with the industry standard, then managers can be a little bit sure that okay, now this is in accordance with the industry standard, then he can be confident a little bit. Then the next comes the morality. Is it right? So managers need to ask the question whether their action, now here I am talking, manager need to ask question whether their decision making as per their morality, okay, as per their morality or not. Then the next you have the reputation, impact on the goodwill. So managers need to think about the impact on the goodwill. Means firms are very conscious of their image in the public domain. If the action of the manager or the decision of the manager is going to affect the goodwill of the firm, in the eyes of people, then this would be managers should understand that their actions are not going to do better for the organization and should modify their actions. Then you have next one, that is the economy impact on firms profits. Means to make the right kind of choices in the face of dilemmas that compel them to choose between the corporation's profits and the optimal ethical outcomes. Now here, impact on the firm's profit means if there is ethical dilemma, then the manager needs to think that whether his or her action is going to affect the firm's profit or not, and the way the firm's profit is going to be affected, that managers need to consider before making decisions in case of ethical dilemmas. Then the sixth last one, that is given ethics, challenge of justifying. Okay, ethics, that is the challenge of justifying how the decision can be justified. That should be considered under ethics. So these are the can say the different steps, or you can say the components which should be considered whenever you are in ethical dilemma. So that's why this is the navigation wheel. What is this one? So ethical navigation wheel. So this ethical navigation wheel you can use to make ethical decision whenever you are in a kind of ethical dilemma, so that you can use. Then you have the next one, that is Lin Payne's concept of moral compass. So Lin Payne's moral compass, this one we are going to study. So what this says, Payne's four frames closely resemble Edward Freeman's stakeholders management theory. So now you see Payne's four framed. So Payne's four frames closely resemble Edward Freeman's stakeholder management theory. Okay, it resemble the Edward Freeman's stakeholder management theory. So what this is, Freeman's stakeholder management theory, and argued it is fallacious to separate business and ethical conduct. Means it is fallacious, means you cannot separate business and ethical conduct. So Lin Payne's four frames of reference are given here. So the first that is given, will this action serve a worthwhile purpose? Means whatever action the manager has to take, whether that is going to serve a worthwhile purpose, that should be considered. That is the first frame. The second one that is given, is the action consistent with the relevant principles? Means according to the principles which is governing the firm, which is or you can say whether the action is inconsistent with the relevant principles. The third frame that is given, the consequences born out of managerial activity. So how consequences born out of managerial activity is going to affect. Now consequences born out of managerial activity, that should be considered. And the fourth given, that is inspiring managers to dig deep and critically examine their ability to exercise their influence as managers. Now here, inspires managers to dig deep and critically examine their ability to exercise their influence as managers. Okay, so these are the four frames of reference given by Lin Payne's. Now next given here, Kirer's ethical checkpoints. So 9-step checkpoints have been given by Kirer to to tide over the complexities of ethical decision making. So to overcome the complexities of the ethical decision making, Kidder gave 9 checkpoints. So now let's move on to these checkpoints. The first checkpoint that is given here, this one, there you have, that is the first checkpoint. To have moral awareness or sensitivity to recognize the presence of a moral issue. Have means the decision maker should have moral awareness. Okay, decision maker should have moral awareness. That is the first checkpoint. Okay, the second checkpoint is that determine the protagonists and checking whether the concerned subject is involved. It means you have to check before making the decision that those who are going to be affected or those who are whether the concerned subject is involved or not. So that is the second one. Third checkpoint given, ensure that the concerned subject considers all the relevant facts before making moral judgments and engaging in ethical decision making. So here you have to be ensure that the concerned subject consider all the relevant facts. It means here you have to consider all the relevant facts. Consider all the relevant facts. That is the third one. Then the fourth given, determine whether the ethical issues are right or wrong. Okay, means you have to consider whether ethical issue, whether it is right or wrong, or because you have to consider that. Then you have the test for right versus suitable paradigms. You have to test that which one, how the particular ethical dilemma is going to be, just like whether it is right or suitable. Means these paradigms you have to check. Then apply checkpoints 4 and 5. Means whatever I told in points 4 and 5. Just like here, whether the ethical issues are right or wrong, or in fifth one given it is right versus suitable paradigms. So these 4 and 5 you have to check. Then seventh given, encourage managers to move beyond the dilemmas to exercise their moral imagination to find out of the box solution. It means managers should be encouraged. Okay, managers should be encouraged to move beyond dilemmas to exercise. Means so whatever dilemmas are present there, so managers should be encouraged to go beyond that and find out the solution from out of the box. And eighth and ninth point here, it is here included, concern deciding and then following it up with revisiting and reflecting. What deciding and following? So that is the eighth one, deciding and following, and then you have revisiting and reflecting. Then decide means after considering those all points, checkpoints given above, you have to decide and then follow. And if it is worthwhile, then revisit and reflect that whether the decisions taken were correct or not. And if not correct, then in those cases you have to make correct decisions. Then you have ethical dilemmas, stakeholder management, and social accounting. So how these things are related with each other. Okay, so that's what we are going to. Social accounting is the voluntary process concerning sorry, what is social accounting? Social accounting is the voluntary process concerned with assessing and communicating organizational activities and impacts on social, ethical, and environmental issues relevant to stakeholders. Now you see, social accounting is a voluntary process. What is this? This is a kind of voluntary process concerned with assessing and communicating organizational activities and impacts. So means here assessing and communicating organization means it is a voluntary process concerned with assessing the organizational activities and impacts on social, ethical, and environmental issues relevant to a stakeholder. Means here how or you can say social accounting is going to communicate. Okay, it is simply the process of assessing the organizational activities, assessing and communicating those activities to relevant stakeholders, which impact or you can say those processes which impact on social ethical environmental issues. So again I'm reading this one. Social accounting is the voluntary process concerned with assessing and communicating organizational activities and impacts on social, ethical and environmental issues relevant to stakeholder. Okay, so what is this voluntary process with assessing and communicating organizational activities to stakeholders? So in simple word you can say assessing and communicating organizational activities which impact society to the relevant stakeholders. So that much. So here that's what I can circle this. Then you have growing pressures from government. Here I'm talking growing pressures from government, civil society organizations, social media, industry associations and consumers. Apart from internal sources like employees and shareholders, make managers compelled to reevaluate their actions whenever they confront ethical dilemmas. It means whenever managers confront ethical dilemmas, then they need to consider the pressures from government, civil society organizations, social media, industry associations and consumers. Okay, that's it. That is over. It means the third unit of MMPC 20 that is over. So thank you all. If any kind of query or question, then you may contact me. So thank you.